Welcome back for Exodus chapter 22. And just a heads up, this is more of a rated R chapter, so if there's children around, you might want to save it till they get older. All right, so yesterday we saw that God was providing Israel with the new rules and laws that were very specific to their society. We pick up again with that today, discussing property rights. And let's remember that there were likely 2 million Hebrews all camped together out in the desert. So first of all, picture that in your mind, and then imagine the behavior going on after being slaves for their entire lives, now having freedom, and likely not knowing that much about God other than stories passed down to them. So God had to deal with some very specific situations in regards to their possessions and their culture. So that's what we're dealing with. Verse 1. If a man steals an ox or a sheep and slaughters it or sells it, he shall pay 5 oxen for the ox and 4 sheep for the sheep. If the thief is caught while breaking in and is struck so that he dies, there will be no blood guiltiness on his account. But if the sun has risen on him, there will be blood guiltiness on his account. He shall surely make restitution, if he owes nothing. Then he shall be sold for his theft. If what he stole is actually found alive in his possession, whether an ox or a donkey or a sheep, he shall pay double. Verse 5. If a man lets a field or vineyard be grazed bare and lets his animal loose so that it grazes in another man's field, he shall make restitution from the best of his own field and the best of his own vineyard. If a fire breaks out and spreads to thorn bushes, so that stacked grain or the standing grain or the field itself is consumed, he who started the fire shall surely make restitution. If a man gives his neighbor money or goods to keep for him, and it is stolen from the man's house, if the thief is caught, he shall pay double. If the thief is not caught, then the owner of the house shall appear before the judges to determine whether he laid his hands on his neighbor's property. All right, so this is similar to the innocent until proven guilty that our court system has established. In fact, the legal system brought over by the Puritans and Pilgrims was based upon the rules and principles found in these early books of the Bible. They drew from the Bible examples and looked for confirmation of ideas for government in Scripture. Jesus did not usher in a political kingdom, but Christianity has been the single largest influence on Western society. In a 10-year study from the University of Houston, researchers examined 15,000 documents from America's founders and determined that 34% of their quotations came from the Bible. Verse 9. For every breach of trust, whether it is for ox, for donkey, for sheep, for clothing, or for any lost thing about which one says, "This is it," the case of both parties shall come before the judges. He whom the judges condemn shall pay double to his neighbor. If a man gives his neighbor a donkey, an ox, a sheep, or any animal to keep for him, and it dies, or is hurt, or is driven away while no one is looking, an oath before the Lord shall be made by the two of them that he has not laid hands on his neighbor's property, and its owner shall accept it, and he shall not make restitution. But if it is actually stolen from him, he shall make restitution to its owner. Verse 13. If it is all torn to pieces, referring to the animal, let him bring it as evidence. He shall not make restitution for what has been torn to pieces. If a man borrows anything from his neighbor, and it is injured or dies while its owner is not with it, he shall make full restitution. If its owner is with it, he shall not make restitution. If it is hired, it came for its hire. If a man seduces a virgin who is not engaged and lies with her, and notice here that it's a consensual situation, he must pay a dowry for her to be his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he shall pay money equal to the dowry for virgins. Completely separate, verse 18, you shall not allow a sorceress to live. And this goes back to pagan practices of the surrounding cultures around them and God's hatred for anything that has to do with witchcraft or magic. Verse 19, whoever lies with an animal shall surely be put to death. He who sacrifices to any god other than the Lord alone shall be utterly destroyed. You shall not wrong a stranger or oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You shall not afflict any widow or orphan. If you afflict him at all, and if he does cry out to me, I will surely hear his cry, and my anger will be kindled, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall become widows, and your children fatherless. Verse 25, if you lend money to my people, to the poor among you, you are not to act as a creditor to him. You shall not charge him interest. If you ever take your neighbor's cloak as a pledge, you are to return it to him before the sun sets, for that is his only covering. It is his cloak for his body. What else shall he sleep in? And it shall come about that when he cries out to me, I will hear him, for I am gracious. You shall not curse God, nor curse a ruler of your people. And our society struggles with this today, but we'll see other passages of Scripture that remind us to be respectful of our appointed rulers, regardless of our personal opinions of them. Verse 29, you shall not delay the offering from your harvest and your vintage. The firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. You shall do the same with your oxen and with your sheep. It shall be with its mother 7 days. On the 8th day you shall give it to me. You shall be holy men to me. Therefore you shall not eat any flesh torn to pieces in the field. You shall throw it to the dogs. Flesh of an animal killed by another and lying in the field became unclean by coming in contact with carnivores and insects, and by not having had the blood drained properly from it. A set-apart lifestyle impacted every area of life, including from where one collected his meat. Okay, till tomorrow. Thank you for being here, and God bless you. Take care.